just came to Panipat to know the problems of the industrialist. And I very much was a problem by the one of the industry that they don't get the boiler operator. Then he said, like, we will start this kind of courses in our university. I guess the industry, in the corporate or in he's working wherein in human capital management has spent more than 2 decades in the various organization, worked in the mobile and engineering and energy sector, like in all the sectors. I've been company for more than a decade, and a global portfolio as a director leadership development. And prior to joining this skill university, he was a director at company again in the field of electrical. So he has a wide global shine, and he has written many.
Consent me and allow me. Can I proceed further for presenting the report on the conference?
Yes.
Our chief guest, sir. Okay. And chairman, vice chairman, sir. Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you. A third international conference on futuristic technology in engineering and innovation in management for sustainable development was held today at GEETA Engineering College, Noltha, which was organized by Engineering and Management Department of the Institute. The chief patron of the conference, Shri S.P. Bansal ji, Srimati Geeta Bansal, the patron, Shri Ankush Bansal, Shri Nishant Bansal, and Miss Sumedha Kataria. Chief guest of the program in the inaugural session, Professor M.M. Goyal, inaugurated the conference in the morning, and it's our pleasure to get overwhelming response in the form of more than 200 research papers from various fields of research, academics, and issues with an extraordinary openness from different domains, out of which organized committee selected 90 articles and research paper of an effort for the quality and worth. Papers were presented in 6 parallel technical sessions, and the proceeding of these papers is published with McKinsey publisher with an ISBN number 97881 936972072. The conference start 3 invited special keynote address by highly respected eminent speaker from India, that is Punjab Engineering College, and from abroad from 2 speakers, one from Australia and one from Portugal. The chief convener and conveners of the conference welcome the delegate and the participants and explain the idea behind the theme of the conference as platform to facilitate deliberation, which will provide the knowledge of changing role and critical place of futuristic technologies in the field of science, technology, management, to create solution for sustainable development and how to overcome the economic challenges during this pandemic. We are glad that in this valedictory function of our international conference, Professor Dr. Raj Nehru, Vice Chancellor of Sri Vishwakarma Skill University, will be enlightening all the academicians and delegates with his most awaited keynote address for the valedictory function. All the resource persons have encouraged the students to take up research, not only at higher education level, but also as a profession, since there is an ample opportunity for growth in all fronts of technology, as well as management science in India and abroad, including entrepreneurship in the field of futuristic technology and how to manage this in a better perspective. It was a staggering significant information with one difficulties, uncertainties from our external world. Sir, it's my privilege. I, Dr. Prerna, Chief Convener of the conference, working here as Dean Academics, heartily and cordially welcome you in this international conference valedictory function. And I'm very confident on the behalf of all the delegates, all the academician dignitaries, that all of them have tried to share the best of their experiences throughout the day during their keynote address and various deliberation. Now it is my responsibility to formally welcome the keynote speaker of the day, because we are just about to have the address of our chief guest, who is Shri Raj Nehruji, Vice Chancellor of Shri Vishwakarma University. He is the youngest founding Vice Chancellor in the country, who left his lucrative career of corporate to serve the dream of transforming national skill ecosystem. Recently, he is appointed member secretary for the Skilling and Education Task Group by Administrative Reform Department, Government of Haryana. He is a member of committee constituted to NSQF alignment under NCVET by MSDE. He has written many articles, blogs, and has recently got 2 chapters published by Business Expert Press, New York, in the book titled Human Resource Management for Organizational Sustainability. About awards and recognition, he is a recipient of Innovative Brick of Change Award, Samman 2019. He has received Hall of Fame Skill Leadership Award 2020. Recently, he has been honored with the Musler Award by Golden Aim Conference and Award for Excellence and Leadership in Education. Philanthropic work, he is an active philanthropist and founder of Utsav Foundation. The foundation educates and skill from slum. Currently, this foundation has adopted 2 slums and 80 children. He has undertaken activities from state government and PMO office for his contribution towards disaster hit village in Jammu and Kashmir.
Going through speed of disruption, speed of automation, velocity of change is very high. Are so many disruptions. So, for example, we spent so many years in IBM. We used to talk about IBMer, always an IBMer. But with the emergence of VUCA world, this slogan of once an IBMer, always an IBMer does not hold true, because many researchers are now indicating that in the lifespan of an individual working in the market may change more than 10 to 15 jobs in his entire lifespan. So the shelf life of skills is shortening, the shelf life of employment is shortening, given these radical changes that are happening in the markets. So volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity has given rise to a different type of talent and different type of skills that organizations require. Volatility is impacting change, the huge amount of change that volatility brings in. And when there is huge amount of change, the appetite for risk goes down. And when appetite for risk goes down, the organizations look for people who have ability to vision, who have ability to see forward. When uncertainty is very high, you will see the unpredictability will go up, the productivity of the work will go down, and the organization would look for those people who have ability to steer through and create solutions based on wider understanding. When complexities grow high, the organizations would have challenges that multifaceted situations will be there, and in the multifaceted situations we need talent who has ability to focus on certain aspects, who has ability to creatively operate despite the complexity is there. And when ambiguity is there, the challenges is that there is high possibility of misinterpretation. And when there are situations of misinterpretation, the amount of trust may go down. So we need such talent in the organization who are decisive even when the mistrusting situations emerge in the organization. I want to draw your attention to a recent survey by McKinsey, and it's a very nimble information that we can see on the chart. You see, up to 2016, the amount and the percentage of time that our talent and the leaders and managers spent in the organization compared to how the time they spent now and the time they are going to spend, you'll see that the large number of time that they used to spend on physical and manual and basic cognitive areas is going to reduce drastically with the passage of time in this VUCA world. The more time the resources and managers and leaders would have to spend on higher cognitive aspects, social and emotional aspects, and technological aspects. And this topic today is also about technological interventions. We'll come to know, we'll just see that how technology is radically changing it. But before that, let me also share with you the amount of impact this radical change will have on the future of work skills. So the time, as you move forward, you'll see the resources that we are going to hire in the organization should be those who are having technologies, resources who have ability to work and be globally connected. Resources who are not only able to see data but able to create meaning out of data. They are able to drive decisions out of data. So that is how the future of work skills would appear in future. And you will see jobs are changing. Today you may see rudimentary job, human integration specialists. No one has thought of we will have telesurgeons. No one has thought of we will have human machine team manager or robot recruiter. Or it is very interesting to hear that while we have a 3D printing machine, we will have a 3D printing food chef or a 3D printing food technician. These are going to be very unique kind of jobs in the coming. So you need to understand that the skills will constantly throng you. They will jerk you. They will ask you to align yourself with the changing requirements of the market. So if you look at what were the top skills in 2015 that were of high importance to the organization when they were hiring, you'll see in 2020 the same skills have become a little rudimentary and new skills have emerged on the top chart. While coordinating with others was considered to be an important skill in 2015, critical thinking skill has replaced, and creativity has replaced, and people management has replaced it, because in the coming days you need people with more cognitive skills. So the approach towards this is changing. And let me tell you what technologies we will have that we will have to manage. All of you are aware about it. These technologies are also disrupting, whether they are autonomous robots, blockchain, or big data, or cloud computing, or cyber security. All these technologies combined with the cognitive thinking will disrupt the entire situation. But let me tell you what organizations do. I have spent many years in IBM. I have spent many years in manufacturing. We have in organization a very structured and scientific way of managing the recruitment processes, the promotion processes, the career advancement processes. What you see on the chart is how good organizations, Fortune 500 organizations, they profile various jobs. So many jobs on the chart. You have a sales guy, you have a CEO, finance guy, engineer, technical manager, or finance guy, marketing guy. Every individual has a different kind of profile. And I will tell you what this profile is. Now, these profiles are normally drawn from the psychometric analysis. So in the business management, when we talk about innovation in business management, you will have to adopt certain new systems of doing assessments that will help you to identify right talent. In the organizations I have worked, we used a very more effective and innovative tool which we call Herman brain dominance instrument. Through this instrument, what we used to do is profile the job roles which are critical to the organization. And when we go for hiring or promoting people, we would profile the candidates, we will profile the prospective and potential candidates and map them. And the ideal fit would either be hired or put into the promotional paddle for career growth. Now, what is this Herman brain dominance instrument? Most of you are familiar with the philosophy of right brain and the left brain. If you have not heard about it, let me help you. Roger Sperry was a brain scientist. He was a neuroscientist, neurologist, neurosurgeon who performed many brain surgeries on the epilepsy patients. And through his research, he found that human brain has got two hemispheres. The brain has got a left hemisphere and the right hemisphere. And both these hemispheres controlled vastly different aspects of thought and action. So one hemisphere has one type of thought and action, another hemisphere has another thought and action. And both the hemisphere has their own advantages and disadvantages. This theory of Dr. Roger Sperry was taken forward by another scientist. His name was Dr. Ned Herman, who further classified this two brain theory into a four quadrant theory: upper left, upper right, lower right. This is how he classified the physiology of brain into an architecture of brain, where he gave a metaphor to the brain called whole brain thinking model, where the brain had got four different functions. You have a blue function, green function, red function, and the yellow function. For the metaphorical purpose, we will use it now. And each of these four functions are in the pair forms. And the dominance of between any of the two pairs structures becomes the source of mental preference. So let's understand what these four quadrants of brain actually do. So the blue quadrant of the brain, the upper left part of the brain, which is also part of the cerebral brain, it is more about facts. The green brain is more about form. The red brain is more about feeling, and the yellow brain is more about future. What does it mean? It means that if you look at the left top brain, blue brain, which is called rational self, this part of the brain deals more with numbers, data, information, analysis, logical thinking, critical thinking. So all the logical, analytical, critical, numeric, mathematical thinking is done by the upper left brain. The lower right brain does more of organized thinking. It does more of a structured thinking. This brain is more excited by structure, more excited by safety, more excited by rules and regulations. The lower right brain is more intuitive, more feeling brain. More feeling brain means it's more about relationship. It's more about expression. It's more about talking to people. It's more about listening to people. It's more about interactions. It's more about collaboration. And the upper left brain is more about imagination. It's more innovation. It's more intuition. It's more creating surprises. It's more about breaking the rules and doing something out of box. So this is how Ned Herman classified Roger Sperry's research and divided the brain into four different functions, which is also called four different cognitive modes of brain. And what it means to us is that when we are born with some percentage of nature, but the 80% of our brain develops with nurture. As we grow in life, one of the modes of the brain becomes more dominant, becomes more strong. or two of the modes may become more stronger. So what happens when some of the modes of brain become more stronger? All our behaviors and habits and actions and activities emerge from that part of the brain, which means that the dominant side of the brain may sometimes have tendency to ignore the non-dominant side. That's why what happens, if sometimes some people are very good at the rational self, they may not appreciate the people who are friendly, who are emotional, they may not like them. Or people who are very structured, who are very organized, who are very sequential, they may not like people who are imaginative, who are ideative, who are very speculative. So that is vice versa. So diagonally opposite brains may have difficulty to adjust with each other. So that's where the Hermann brain dominance instrument comes for rescue. In organizations, we use this Hermann brain dominance instrument to assess people for multiple purposes. The first purpose is we want to make our executives, our employees, our resources be aware of the preferences that they have, so that they know what strengths of thinking they have and what strengths they don't have, so that they are able to move out of their preferred thinking modes and also operate from preferred thinking modes. By this way, they will be able to empathize, they will be able to collaborate, they will be able to include people who are different from them. This also is used for mapping people for relevant jobs, because for example, a sales job may require a typical kind of thinking, while as a typical accounts job or a typical rational self or a safekeeping self. So every job will have different dominant thinking preferences. Now these modes of thinking are also important from a cognitive flexibility point of view, because if we are cognitively rigid, we may create more anxiety for ourselves. We will not grow in our life. We will not be able to innovate. We will not be able to productively work at the workplace. We will not be able to collaborate with people. The cognitive flexibility allows a person to understand his mode and move into non-flexibility, is an ability to switch thoughts between the two different concepts thinking. By this way, a person becomes more inclusive and an individual to see from different perspectives. You have a problem, you may not have only one solution. When you look at from multiple modes, you may get multiple solutions. So it helps in problem solving. It helps in also helps an individual to adjust thoughts, emotions, and actions when the environment change. Different. So a person who has ability to switch from one mode of thinking to another mode of thinking will not have a problem to accommodate, acclimatize, and adapt to the new situations. And this is also a great way of including and accommodating the contrarian view. Most of the times what happens when a contrarian view comes, we become angry, but a person who has developed the ability of cognitive flexibility will have a receptivity towards contrarian view, which is very critical when in the organization we are, because we work in teams, we work in groups, we work in multiple teams. They are cross-functional teams, and in cross-functional teams you don't have directly people reporting to you, so then you have to get the work done through influence, and it's only possible when you are having cognitive flexibility. So if you look at this chart, it shows you many jobs which are being mapped in different quadrants, and these jobs, if people demonstrate and they understand these jobs, they can be successful in these jobs depending upon where their thinking preferences lie. We also leverage the scientific method of assessment, psychometric assessment, for management and leadership development in the organization. You see, if someone is very high in blue quadrant, his leadership style would be more authoritative. But if someone is very high in the red quadrant, his leadership style would be more team oriented. Versus if someone is very high in green, it would be more conservative. Versus if someone is very high in yellow, would be an adventurous leader or an entrepreneurial leader who is coming with all the time with great ideas. So we use these techniques and skills in the organization also for then developing people. So when you map people, when you map talent in the organization in different quadrants, we develop our curriculum in the corporates according to the profiling of the people. So we create curriculum, we create the teaching methodology, we create the pedagogical interventions based on the demands of each of these quadrants. So all of you students who are listening to me, teachers, academicians, all of you will have a specific profile, and that specific profile will always pull you and push you to behave in such a way. But when you become aware of that, and when you become aware of the other people's profile, you will try to become a little bit more inclusive. That inclusivity is the beginning of change. So at the end, I would like to conclude that our new education policy has created some scope for this inclusiveness by shifting the 10+2 model to a 5+3+3+4 model, where the curriculum would be designed for each of these levels rather than painting the entire education with a single brush. And that is where the transformation will happen. So with that, all the students or the faculties today, remember, technology is a big driver, and leveraging the technology-based psychometric tools in assessing self, in assessing teams, in assessing talent is going to be a big game changer in the coming days, because it will give you ideal awareness about self, ideal awareness about the gaps, ideal awareness about how to manage those gaps, and ideal awareness about how should you learn certain new things, or how should you manage certain things which you do not like through those people who have those strengths which are different than you. So once again, thank you very much for this time that you have given me. At the end, I will conclude with one quote of Voltaire. He said, life is like a game of cards, and you have to work with the cards you are dealt with. You will have no choices. You will have to develop yourself to manage the choices. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I wish this program has come to a successful end, and I'm sure the papers that you will publish will provide lots of insights to people. And I wish you all the best for your future endeavors. All the best and good luck.
Thank you so very much, sir. I think from the beginning of your cognitive model and contribution of that cognitive transformation to the use of technology as a driver towards the development of the economy and the nation, and how to map that technology-driven psychometric tools in getting the right person placed with right skill for right kind of job, I think is the takeaway with all of us. It was just one line I have said, but I truly believe that you have very clearly had provided us a model where we all can just see ourselves, which is the best domain where we fit the best in this skill set, and where we can get the best takeaway towards the end of this program. Sir, thank you so very much for your enlightening word and enriching exchange of experiential learning. And without taking much of the time, it call upon the most dynamic personality of our GEETA group of institution family, dynamic administrator, Ms. Sumedha Kataria, IAS retired, to kindly come and propose vote of thanks for the valedictory ceremony of this third international conference. I think because of some network connectivity, Sumedha ma'am, are you able to hear my voice? I request our CEO ma'am, Sumedha Kataria ma'am, to kindly join and propose a vote of thanks for this valedictory ceremony. I think there is some network issue. So ma'am has just joined. So ma'am, over to you. Our CEO ma'am has just joined for proposing vote of thanks of this valedictory function of 3rd International Conference. Over to you, ma'am.
Namaskar. First of all, my hearty gratitude to Mr. Raj Nehru, Vice Chancellor, Shri Vishwakarma Skill University, Palwal, for his esteemed presence in the valedictory session of the 3rd International Seminar organized under auspices of GEETA Group of Institutions. Sir, your stature has definitely enhanced the aura of the seminar, and your address has definitely mesmerized us all. I'm looking forward to the opportunity when all our students of GEETA, studying in GEETA Group of Institutions, could hear you personally, because I have seen a number of YouTube videos and I'm very well aware of your skills that you possess and the kind of knowledge, the depth of information that you have would definitely further enlighten us if you give us an opportunity some other time also to be present in our campus. I would also like to convey my sincere thanks to the speakers who joined us from far and wide to the prestige of and they added to the prestige of the seminar. Thank you, Dr. Sumodaya Nanyakara, Australia, Dr. Polly George Noguchi Torquato from Portugal, Dr. Priyavrat from Chandigarh, and almost 200 people who presented who sent the papers, and out of which 90 were selected for presentation in different parts of the seminar, which ran parallelly. And I also thank our worthy chairman, Mr. S.P. Bansal, vice chairman, Mr. Ankush and Nishant Bansal, for their inspirational support, which they're ever ready to give us. Special thanks to Dr. Raman Chedda, Director, GEETA Engineering College, and Dr. Prerna, Head of the Management Department, and all the HODs and faculty members who have been working relentlessly to make this seminar a success. And above all, thanks to all the participants who have been attending this seminar since morning and without whose presence it could not have been a success. Thank you very much. The technical team, as in the COVID days, it is the only medium that we can get connected, and without their support, it would not have been possible to organize the seminar successfully. Once again, I thank you, Mr. Raj Nehru, the chief guest of the valedictory session of the 3rd International Seminar, for obliging us with your precious time. Thank you very much indeed. Jai Hind.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Raj Nehru ji. Thanks a lot, CEO ma'am. Thanks a lot, our management, Ankush ji, Nishant ji, and all the delegates from the country and across the country, all the presenters, and everyone from the core of heart. I, Dr. Prerna, extend my gratitude to you and to Almighty for this wonderful day full of learning and exchange of intellectual capital. Thanks to all of you. Stay blessed, rise and shine.